Now we have to do our job, and we have to try and have charot on our averis, and try to enhance our mitzvahs and our avodas Hashem b'chalal. But the lashon is ad kisi agavid v'shafta ad Hashem alekecha. You know, there's an interesting lashon. The Gemara says in Pesachim when a person's doing bedikas chametz, and the chametz is about getting rid of all the chametz, the sa'ar shebeisa, the averis. And let's say it's hovelled and hidden up in a corner. How does a person try to get rid of the chametz? The pasuk says, let's say you have two neighbors, and the chametz is in between. So zeh boidik ad mokem sheyadi magas. V'zeh boidik ad mokem sheyadi magas. Each one tries to do as much as far as he can reach. The other one also. V'hashar mavat lebaliboy. And that's really our job now in the ani l'doidi v'doidi li. We have to go as far as we can. Ad mokem sheyadi magas. If you will go and do to the full strength ad mokem sheyadi magas, on the other side also the Rabbi Shalom confers to that ani l'doidi v'doidi li ad mokem sheyadi magas, and a person will be able to do a total tshuva. The Gemara then continues, Gedoy l'tshuva shedoicha loisase shebetoira. Gedoy l'tshuva, tshuva is so great that it's doicha loisase shebetoira. So what does this Gemara mean? Tshuva is so great that it's doicha loisase shebetoira. So the pshat is, we have a relationship with the Rabbi Shalom, and the truth is we say Avinu and Malkeinu. That means we have a relationship of a father to a son. We have a relationship from a king to the people under the sovereignty of the king. But we also have a relationship, a marriage relationship. Ani l'doidi v'doidi li. We have a relationship of marriage with the Rabbi Shalom. And the truth is this is a very special marriage. What does it say, l'doidi? Because a doidi is an uncle. And you have the concept in the Gemara, you know, you can be closest related to a person, to a spouse, but the relationship of a spouse, there could be divorce. Then you could have a relationship, a blood relation, your brother, your father, your nephew, that's a blood relation. The Gemara says you're allowed to marry your niece. It's a concept in the Gemara in Yavamis, it comes across all the time. A person is allowed to marry Bas Achav. When you marry your niece, that's a relationship that can't be more than that. It's also a marital relationship, but it's also, and there's no way to break it because it's your niece anyways. Ani l'doidi, v'doidi li, represents both of those levels of relation, of shaychus, of kirva. So we have a relationship with the Rabbi Shalom. We are married to the Rabbi Shalom. And the Torah is our ksuba, and we have a relationship, a marriage relationship with the Rabbi Shalom. Now when a wife goes astray, and she's mezana, and a wife is not doing what she's supposed to do, so the husband has to divorce her. That's a soita that has to get divorced. And the pasuk is saying over here, Gedoy l'tshuva. Tshuva is so great that it's doich the lois shebatayra. Hashem will take us back, even if we went astray. Tshuva is so great that it allows us to, Hashem will allow us to take us back. That's what the Gemara means. But there's a question. There's already a lomdish and a kuda. There's an interesting question. We know there's a concept all over Shas. Essay is doich lois. It's a classic concept. A mitzvah's essay, you wear tzitzis, even if it has klayim on it, because essay is doich lois. So what's so astounding? What is everyone so? What is the Gemara being the spell over here? Essay is doicha loisase. Tshuva is doicha loisase. Of course, it's a basic concept. Essay is doicha loisase. So it could be because when the isha is mezaneh, if you learn up the sugyas in Yavamas, it comes out that really there's a loisase and an essay to take it back, and therefore it's a stronger avera, and it's not so pushy. You'd say essay doicha loisase. But then the Chasam Sofer asks an interesting question. A person is only usher to his wife if she went astray, if she did it with rutzin, that she wanted to do it. If she was attacked against her will, if the Isha was attacked against her will, then there's no problem that she should be able to go back to her husband. So what's B'chlal, the issue that Hashem shouldn't be able to take us back? So they bring the Gemara says, HaKadosh Baruch Hu is a kohen. You have to understand what this Gemara means. But the Gemara, and this concept is used, HaKadosh Baruch Hu is a kohen. By a kohen is also to take back his wife, even if it was done by Einis. Because we were Einis. The Yetzirah forced us to do it. It wasn't our fault that we went astray. The Yetzirah forced us. Yeah, but Hashem is a kohen. Hashem is a kohen. There's an alternative pshat, though, that we know if a person divorces his wife and she marries someone else, you can't take her back. And maybe that's what's really going on. By us doing Averis, so Hashem really sent us away. And we continue doing Averis, we're not able to go back because it's a Matzah Grushasai. And once again, the Gemara is saying the same concept. that the tshuva is going to allow us, that Hashem should be able to take us back and bring back that relationship. We're able to bring back that relationship. Now it's so important, there was someone, Rabbeinu Gershom Me'or HaGoyla. Rabbeinu Gershom Me'or HaGoyla. One of the great Rishonim, he made a takana that a person is not allowed to have two wives. Everyone knows the famous Cherem de Rabbeinu Gershom. He also made a Cherem, you're not allowed to read other people's letters. He also made a takana that you can't divorce your wife against her will. Be'emes in a Torah, you could divorce your wife against her will. That's why he's called Rabbeinu Gershom Me'or HaGoyla. We're in a golus for 2,000 years already. Such a long, hard golus. Hashem maybe would take someone else instead of us, a different nation. Or he would send us away against our will. Rabbeinu Gershom said, no, there's two rules that you're not allowed to do. He made them up. He said, you're not allowed to take another wife, and you're not allowed to send your wife away against her will. And that's what keeps us alive in the golus. Otherwise, even though HaKadosh Baruch Hu Taka, we got married by Har Sinai, or he could send us away, he could take another nation also. No, Rabbeinu Gershom Me'or HaGoyla, he's the one that saves us from the golus. He kept it alive through the golus. That no, that you're not going to be able to take a different one, and the Eibishter is going to keep to us, keep only to us. We're getting close to the days of Rosh HaShana and Yom Kippur. And the doing tshuva, like we said, is to come close, to come back to the Rabbi Shalom, to work on that relationship. The pasuk says, "Ki vayoyim hazeh, vayom Kippur, ki vayoyim hazeh yechaper aleichem l'taher eschem mikol chatoiseichem l'fnei Hashem titoru." Now, if you go, the Gemara in Yuma at the end discusses that there is different kind of averis. Some averis tshuva suffices. Some averis are even more. Some averis require that Yom Kippur should be mechaper. And some averis are so great, chayv kristos, chayv Mrs. Bezdin, that only if a person has Yisurim or dies, only then is going to have a kapara. So Rabbeinu Yoina, in Shari Tshuva, Rabbeinu Yoina asks, how could this pasuk say, Ki vayoyim hazeh yechaper aleichem, mikol chatoiseichem, l'fnei Hashem titoru? It's pasha not true. Hashem is not going to be able to matar yourselves from all of your averis. There are some averis that the Mishnah says even Yom Kippur is not enough. Right? So some averis tshuva suffices. Some averis you need Yom Kippur. Some averis even more than Yom Kippur. So what does it mean? Mikol chatefeichem l'fnei Hashem titoru. Says Rabbeinu Yoina, Hashem is not promising. Hashem is not promising. Hashem is not saying a promise that He's going to take away all your averis. There are some averis that even Yom Kippur won't do. That you have to get worse Yisurim. But on Yom Kippur, a person is mechuyev to do tshuva on all of his averis. Meaning, besides the fact that a whole year a person has to do tshuva, there's a special chiyuv on Yom Kippur to do tshuva, and it's a separate din. Letaher eschem mikol chateiseichem. That a person has to do to try to do mikol chateiseichem. But how could it be? And what does Rabbeinu Yoina mean? If we have to do tshuva a whole year, what's unique about doing tshuva dafka during these days? A whole year a person has to do tshuva. Shafta ad Hashem alikecha is a whole year. We see here that there's something special in these days that a person has to do tshuva mikol chateiseichem. Simply said, it could be a whole year a person can pick and choose and see which averis he wants to do tshuva on. On Yom Kippur, the agenda has to be that Yitaka want to totally get a clean slate. Mikol chateiseichem l'fnei Hashem titoru. There could be another issue though also. It's an important thing to know about in these days. Everyone's starting to get nervous and tense, and it should be, that's the way it should be. But there's something important to know, that these days, dafka these days of the end of Elul and Rosh HaShana Yom Kippur are supposed to be days of simcha. Dafka, they're supposed to be days of simcha. Don't wait till Sukkot, now is days to be simcha. Why? Person, I'll give a mashal. A child went to his father and he was mamash mechutzif, and he was disrespectful, and he really wasn't acting the way he should, and he acted up to the father. And then you could have one scenario played out, that the child realizes what he did wrong. He went to the father and he cries and he begs for forgiveness, and he says right away, I realized I was way off base, that wasn't how I should have done it. And he asks for forgiveness, and the father will forgive him. But sometimes you'll have the same story. The kid comes and he mamash play out the same scene again. The kid mamash didn't act things out. And right away the father, on his own initiative, goes over to the kid and gives him a big hug, and he loves him. Right? Unconditional love, yeah. The truth is, the kid's going to make the father into a shmata very quickly. That's not the system, that's not chinuch, that's not the way it's supposed to be done. But sometimes you should do that. But how is it expressed that the kid realizes that he did something wrong? In the first scenario we played out, the kid himself realized, the kid himself went back to the father and started asking and was crying and felt bad and felt guilt. But in the second scenario playing out, that the father comes towards the child, so what's supposed to happen? If you want to know if this father did a good job and the kid realizes, even through the father's initiative, that the kid did something wrong, if the kid expresses his extreme happiness about the fact that the father came in and gave him the hug anyways, and he expresses that. During the whole year we do tshuva, we chose to do tshuva, it's because we choose to do tshuva because we realize we did something wrong and we're coming crying to the Rabbi Shalom. But during these days, it's kir'u b'yosei korav. Hashem is coming close to us. Hashem makes the initiative. He's coming close to us. And okay, then it's not a kunz. He's coming close to us. How do we express and bring out the fact that the tshuva is taka going to be that we realize and we appreciate and are makar the tuv that the Rabbi Shalom did to us? Dafka to do avodas Hashem dafka b'simcha in these days. That's how you express that. We're not just playing it out and it's taka going to be. And that's what it means. L'fnei Hashem tetaru dafka on Yom Kippur. A person's supposed to do this kind of special tshuva. That he does it l'fnei Hashem tetaru. That he wants to do it b'simcha and he wants to come back close to Hashem. There's a famous shita, Aman Diyamar. His name is Rabbi. Rabbi in the Gemara in Yuma, more in a few places, the Gemara brings, Rabbi holds Yom Kippur Itzumay Shel Yoim Mechaper. Yom Kippur doesn't even need tshuva. Fascinating shita. Rabbi holds, one Aman Diyamar says Yom Kippur only is Mechaper together with tshuva. But Rabbi is the one that holds Yom Kippur itself is Mechaper, even without tshuva. Itzumay Shel Yoim is Mechaper. And this is a hard concept to understand. That the Yom Kippur itself, L'fnei Hashem Titaru, the Yom Kippur itself, without having to do tshuva even. So I want to analyze a few things over here according to Shitas Rebbe. Rebbe's Mahala, we don't pass him like Rebbe. He started working on tshuva, but according to Rebbe, Itzumay Shel Yoim is Mechaper. So, first of all, it's interesting, there's a Gemara that says that when Rebbe was nifter, and by his levaya, a baskol came out, and a baskol said, whoever was by Rebbe's levaya, ba'ashkaftei devi Rebbe, whoever was by Rebbe's levaya is going to be zoichet ha'olam haba. Weird thing that happened by his levaya. A baskol came out and said, whoever was by Rebbe's levaya is going to get olam haba. Why was Rebbe dafka zoichet to this? Because we know, we can explain, Misas Tzadikim, the Gemara says, is Mechaper. The same way Yom Kippur is Mechaper, Misas Tzadikim is Mechaper. Yeah, but you have to realize, the same way Pashat Pshat, Yom Kippur Avad, it's not just a spiel, you have to do tshuva for the Yom Kippur to work. So similarly, when there's Misas Tzadikim, but it's not just a snap. You have to do tshuva, and then the Misas Tzadikim is able to be Mechaper. But according to Rebbe L'Shitasai, Rebbe is the one that his shita is that the Yom Kippur itself is Mechaper. According to him, L'Shitasai, Misas Tzadikim also the same system. By his levaya, the Baskol came out and said automatically, the Yom Kippur, the Misas Tzadikim itself is going to be Mechaper. That's Shitas Rebbe, that Yom Kippur itself does the kapar. So the Gemara then asks, this is a Gemara in Shavuos Daf Yud Gimel, it says that if a person eats on Yom Kippur, Yechayiv Koros. So Yom Kippur is very chomer. Yom Kippur, if a person eats on Yom Kippur, he's Chayiv Koros. So the Gemara asks, according to Rebbe, how could you ever be Chayiv Koros for eating on Yom Kippur? Yom Kippur is Mechaper, even if you didn't do tshuva. How is it ever possible that the pasuk says that Yom Kippur is Mechaper? That Yom Kippur, the pasuk says if you eat kol oichel kol nefesh asher lo yisu'una v'nichrusa, you're going to get karas feeding on Yom Kippur. How do you get karas feeding on Yom Kippur if Yom Kippur itself is Mechaper? The Gemara asks the kasha. So one teretz the Gemara gives is Chanke Umtza. He choked on the bone, meaning this guy was starting to eat in Yom Kippur. I guess it takes a minute or two for Yom Kippur to do its thing, and he right away choked on the bite. Now, the lashon of the Gemara, Chanke Umtza. But you know, there's a whole question in the Poskim if Yom Kippur, let's say a person only ate and then spit it out. It didn't go down into his stomach. Meaning the Gemara calls this Hanoas Groinoi. His throat had Hanoah, but there was no Hanoas Ne'ayim. This is negay also, let's say, for people if you're allowed to use food pipes on Yom Kippur, if it's not for Pikuach Nefesh. There's all kind of questions. What does eating mean? Does it mean just the throat or the stomach? And the Poskim talk about it. Reb Chaim Oizer Grodzensky from Vilna, he brought a raya from this Gemara. The Gemara says you get chorus that you choked on and it didn't even go down. So you see that just the choking on it itself, that already is the what's it called? Now it comes out. That's one teretz the Gemara gives. How is the Shaykh Karas according to Rabbi? He choked before he had a chance to swallow. Then the Gemara gives another teretz. Rebbe's moida on Yom Kippur Isurim. Meaning, even though Rebbe says Yom Kippur is mechaper for any Aveira you did the whole year, Yom Kippur is mechaper for any Aveira you did without doing tshuva. Without doing tshuva, Yom Kippur is mechaper. When is Yom Kippur not mechaper? For Yom Kippur related Isurim. A Yom Kippur related Isur doesn't get the kapara of Rebbe. This concept, Yom Kippur can't. That's what the Gemara wants to say, that Yom Kippur doesn't mechaper for Yom Kippur related issues. So by eating on Yom Kippur, you will get karas. So now I have a problem. The Gemara says, Ha'omer echta v'oshuv. If a person says, I'm going to do an Aveira, but my plan is, I'm going to do an Aveira, I'm going to do tshuva. Echta v'oshuv, echta v'oshuv. He hasn't planned out, he'll do Aveiras, and he'll do tshuva. So the Gemara says, tshuva won't work. And the Gemara continues the next line. Ha'omer echta v'yom kippur mechaper. The person says, I'll do Aveiras, and then I'll rely on Yom Kippur. So Yom Kippur won't work for you. That's what the Gemara says. And the Gemara says, this is not according to Rebbe. This doesn't go according to Rebbe. Because according to Rebbe, Yom Kippur is mechaper even if you don't care, if you don't do tshuva. So who cares if you had this echta v'yom kippur mechaper? Maybe Yom Kippur should still be mechaper. So the Gemara asks it, and the Gemara says, no. If you're doing azah foilishtik, agav shining, you're trying to play around with Yom Kippur, you can't do that. That's the Gemara's mechaper. So my question is, why did the Gemara have to say that? The Gemara should say that it's possible the case of echta v'yom kippur mechaper by Yom Kippur related issues. We're saying that Yom Kippur related issues Rebbe doesn't hold. That Yom Kippur is mechaper. And I have another one. Ben Adam l'chaveri. Everyone knows Ben Adam l'chaveri. Even Yom Kippur is not mechaper until you ask mechila. What does Rebbe hold? Rebbe's Yom Kippur automatic, no strings attached. Kapara of Yom Kippur. Even for Ben Adam l'chaveri, or does Rebbe agree that for Ben Adam l'chaveri you need to have you have to be meratzes chaveri? How far should we take Rebbe's shita? But that's what we have. That I wanted. Rebbe holds Yom Kippur related issues are different. I saw in a lot of Hasidic Sfarim, they talk about this concept of Rebbe, that Yitzum Shivim is Machaper. And they speak out, they say, yes, you don't need to do tshuva, Rebbe's shita is, the Yom Kippur itself is Machaper. But, of course it's only if you realize how great Hashem is, and you realize what Yom Kippur is about, and you have a basic understanding about what Yom Kippur is. You didn't actually do tshuva. But of course, if you don't even realize what Yom Kippur is, even Rebbe's not going to say Yom Kippur mechaper. And they go through this lengthy thing that Avada, you have to stel tzu to Yom Kippur. You might not need to do tshuva, but of course the basic is you have to know what Yom Kippur is. And they at length discuss this. And Rabbi said, I have a question. If the Gemara literally took it seriously and asked the question, how do you ever get kares? Who cares if a guy ate? And the Gemara said he choked on the bone, or just say he wasn't holding in this madrega that he knew. L'chari, you see in this Gemara, you have to learn up a Gemara. The Gemara is mavur, is mashma, that according to Rebbe, this is kipshutoi. Anything you do on Yom Kippur also, until the Gemara says Yom Kippur related Isurim are different. Bemis, this shita of Rebbe, this is really a long, lengthy shir. I'm limited in time. I don't know if the oilam is, but a few more nekudas just on this inyan, this concept of Yom Kippur being mechaper. Then again, the Sfarim say that even then you have to at least be aware what Yom Kippur is, that Yom Kippur is such an awesome day. Then Yom Kippur will work for you, to know that. It's a too interesting thing. The Gemara says, if a person goes, the Kohen Gadol, on Yom Kippur, goes in with the Ketairis, there was special Ketairis that the Kohen Gadol would go into the Beis HaMikdash with a special set of Ketairis. That was part of the Avodah. It's very important to prepare for Yom Kippur also, besides eating on Erev Yom Kippur, to go through the Seder of the Avodah of the Kohen Gadol. It brings a little bit of longing for the Beis HaMikdash. But it says that the Kohen Gadol would go in on Yom Kippur, and he was missing one ingredient, he's chayiv misa. You're not allowed to do the ingredients of the special Yom Kippur Ketairis unless you did exact instructions. If you're even missing one ingredient, chayiv misa. Chiser achas mikol samem onel, chayiv misa. That's a basic, that's a Gemara. So then the Gemara asks in Yuma, in Daf Nun Gimel, the Gemara asks, if a Kohen Gadol walked in with a not full deck, not full Ketairis portion, he's chayiv misa anyways. There's a din, one is not allowed to walk into the Beis HaMikdash for no reason. It's called bia rekonis. If you walked in for no reason, that itself is a death penalty. So what are you telling me? The Gemara asks, what are you telling me, that you chayiv misa because you walked in with a non-portioned ketores? You're chayiv because bia rekonis. You went in stamazoi for no reason. That itself is death penalty. So the Gemara actually says the case was he walked in with two sets of ketores. One was full, and the other one was missing an ingredient. So he wasn't going in for no reason because he in fact did bring in a good set of ketores. He also brought in another semi-set, and that he'll be chayiv misa for. The Gemara has a whole lengthy discussion on that. You know, there's a question anyways. He went in with this ketores, and he made a fire, and he lit it up. He should be chayiv because he made a fire on Yom Kippur. He should be chayiv anyways. He should be chayiv for Thursday. He should be chayiv because he made a fire. So that they say, it could be the Kohen Gadol was allowed to do the Yom Kippur avodah even when it wasn't Yom Kippur. If he chose to do it, and he can, a Kohen Gadol can choose to do the avodah even during the year. So it wouldn't be a problem of making a fire. So I want to suggest, I had an argument with a few people about this recently. Bringing in a non-portioned ketores is a Yom Kippur related din, because it's only a special din of bringing in a Yom Kippur. So according to Rabbi's shita, think about this Kohen Gadol walks in with a semi-portioned ketores, and he's saying he's going to be chayiv misa. So he's saying he's chayiv misa anyways because he went into the Beis HaMikdash stam. Oh, went into the Beis HaMikdash stam, that's an isser of all year round. Rabbi holds Yom Kippur is mechaper for all averis. But from bringing in the ketores, if we'll suggest that not only eating on Yom Kippur is Yom Kippur related, non-portioned ketores is Yom Kippur related, that's where he's going to get slammed because there it won't be mechaper. I want to tell you a nice shtickle from Rabbi Shlomo Kluger. I don't know if the Olam understands who was Rabbi Shlomo Kluger. Rabbi Shlomo Kluger wrote hundreds of svarim. He was such an Eloi. He would write always only on one column as he was writing his Chedushim, because always as he was writing he would be thinking about more Chedushim. So he always left the left hand of the paper for the. He was an endless. Anyways, he always says very charifistic and populim. So let me tell you one thing. I want the oilam to halt cup. This is it's mamish me'ein oilam hazit, such a shtickle. We're discussing the whole time that if Rebbe holds that Yom Kippur is mechaper, no matter what you do, any avera, Yom Kippur is mechaper. So the question was, so what's the point of chorus on Yom Kippur? What's the point of chorus on Yom Kippur? Anyways, you're going to get the kapara. So we said Yom Kippur is different. He choked on the bone. Says Rav Shlomo Kluger, I have a new pshat. You know, Yom Kippur, we have to start fasting early, before this man. Why do we start fasting before this man? Because there's a special din on Yom Kippur. Tosefes Yom Kippur. You must add on Yom Kippur. When do we add? Before Shkia. Why do we have to add before Shkia? During Shkia, from Shkia till Tzeif, why can't that count as the addition to Yom Kippur? Why do we have to start Yom Kippur even earlier? There's a special thing, you have to start Yom Kippur early. Let a guy say, okay, I started early. I started before Tzeis HaKechavim. I started early. So the answer is, between Shkia and Tzeis HaKechavim, you anyways have to fast. It's a suffix. The Nashmash is a suffix. Suffix d'oraisa l'chumra. So suffix d'oraisa l'chumra, so that you anyways have to do. Now if there's din, you got to add to Yom Kippur, you got to start even earlier. The Rambam shita is suffix d'oraisa is l'kula. Suffix d'oraisa is l'kula. So technically, according to the Rambam should say, listen, suffix d'oraisa l'kula, I can start fasting from Tzeis. I'll start fasting a few minutes before Tzeis, and that will suffice for my Tosefes Yom Kippur. Because suffix d'oraisa l'kula. Says Rav Shlomo Kluger, it's a pella. He says, by things that have a chiyuv of chorus, the Rambam's moida that you go suffix l'chumra. And Bazai, the Torah says that Yom Kippur is chayav chorus. Will it ever be possible you'll get chorus? No, you'll never get chorus, because if you eat, you're going to get the kapara of Yom Kippur. But what was the purpose that the Torah told us that there's chorus in Yom Kippur? That Yom Kippur is mochamer, to teach us that it's suffix l'chumra, in order that we have to start Yom Kippur earlier. Otherwise, I wouldn't have noted. It had to say about the chorus to teach me that Yom Kippur is earlier. That's the koyach ha-Torah of Rav Shlomo Kluger. There's a little bit of Torah v'negei tshuva, but Rabbi Sai, we're coming close to very, very big, important days. Everyone on a personal level and Gans Klal Yisrael together should work on becoming close to Hashem, building up our relationship with Hashem, and Be'ezer Hashem, we should all be zoicha to a ksiva v'chasima toiva, a good gebet shtiyah.